Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast. I'm blessed with what I get to do. And I started this podcast as a passion project, doing maybe one episode every couple of months. And now we release 2 episodes a week. And the messages we receive on a weekly basis, people finding this when they need it most. And it's having an impact. My objective was to simplify spirituality and guide you on your journey. I really feel like with the messages we receive, I really do feel like it's doing that. So if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Thank you for your support. If you're new, then welcome. Let us know if you have any feedback. Feedback's always a blessing. And truly hope you feel the energy and the vibration, our intention. We don't advertise. We talk about what we do, sure, but I've intentionally not looked for advertisers because kind of want to keep it the way it is in terms of open conversation, and love getting to do it. So I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. What I get to do is I get to guide you on your journey. I get to hold your space. Do that through so many different ways, but the main thing is a spiritual mentorship program, which we work through your 4 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and really help you to release the karma in each of those bodies, any gifts, anything you're holding on to, and really kind of release the layers and get you back to your core you. I feel like we're all going through a shift, and I feel like now is a beautiful time to be mentored, to be guided. I never tell anybody what to do. Also, I'm including Akashic training at the moment, so you get a 14-week program, including Akashic training for the price of 12. I love what I get to do. We also do things like full moon webinars. So if you are listening to this on the Monday when we release it, we have the full moon webinar today. So do join us if you can. It's at 9 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. Eastern. A link will be in the show notes. This podcast won't be where it is today without my beautiful, stunning, and amazing co-host who's supported me through this journey, Stacey Brown.
Thanks, buddy. It's good to be here. Thanks so much for the introduction. Friends, my name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader and a spiritual coach and mentor. And 3 years ago, I was blessed enough to be able to publish my first book, Journey to Soul Center: Discovering the Gift of Surrender. I love this podcast and sharing with our audience. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we have to use our voices to help others. And I'm really looking forward to this topic today. How are you doing, Nims?
I'm good. We're having a mini heat wave in the UK. It's kind of causing, we're British, we need to talk about the weather. It's kind of what we do. So yeah, but I'm good. We're recording this on the Friday before release on the Monday. And yeah, I feel good. I feel like there's lots of shifts happening. And I'm here for it. How are you, Stace?
I'm good. I've been very busy, and it's that season where summer is here and my daughter is home from school, and so I'm juggling her and work. But I've really been enjoying this season and the extra time that I have with her. So things are good.
I love it. So what are we talking about today? And we kind of feel the energy, especially with the joint episodes. What are we feeling, and kind of tap into it. And as we have just experienced the summer solstice and kind of feeling the new vibration, kind of felt like a good topic this week was to talk about what are you waiting for. It's this feeling, it's this energy, this vibration that we're in this holding pattern, and it's a kind of in this void, and we feel like we're waiting for some sort of breakthrough, some sort of big epiphany, some flash in the sky. It's that when all of a sudden everything becomes clear. And I guess the reality is, what if there is no flash in the sky, right? What if there's no amazing landing where all of a sudden it becomes clear? What if it's just little breakthroughs that happen along the way that guide you to a deeper understanding of you? So that's what we're going to dive into today. and really ask the question, what are you actually waiting for? And what if you actually stop waiting? I feel like it's the energy and the vibration of taking small aligned, not even small, but aligned actions, one aligned action at a time without waiting to know what the next 5 steps are. That's what I think a lot of us are waiting for. Is like, hold on, give us the end game. Give us, and then give us the 17 steps to get there. I don't think this phase works that way. I think it's just that having that vision, letting go of how you get it, and just taking one step towards what feels aligned. So, Stacey, when I ask you, what are you waiting for?
It's interesting because I don't feel like I'm in a season of waiting. I feel like I'm in a season of action, but I've definitely been in a season of waiting and waiting on, I don't know what. Like, are we waiting on permission for someone to come along and say, now's the time? Are we looking for that invitation that's never going to come? I'm not quite sure, but I would absolutely say that I'm in a season of propelling myself forward, and I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait on someone to tell me what I can and can't do. I don't want to wait on, the perfect day or the stars to be aligned. I want to take action now.
I love it. No, that's so true, and that I feel like is a perfect way to describe this current energy. And if I was to be honest, I felt like a big shift is coming for me for a while now, and it's just. But at the same time, I feel like I'm shifting every day. So, and I'm the sort of person that actually doesn't wait, and actually I feel like the universe is asking me to not wait, but also slow down and make sure I take care of me. So, but I do know with a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of clients and stuff, there's that feeling of, the old life not we don't fit in it anymore, the new life not being ready, and that's kind of what I feel like a lot of us are waiting for, is what is this new world going to look like? And but I don't think we're supposed to know. I don't think it's a big reveal. I think I feel it's a one step at a time type thing, and it's just, I 100% agree. Taking aligned action, and I'm sure I've mentioned this last few episodes, but listening to your body and kind of tapping in, it's like, if you're not sure what this one aligned action is, then just ask, and how does it make you feel? Close your eyes, ask yourself the question. Your body's a natural channel. And if you speak it out loud, how does it, if you speak it and it comes through clearly, then maybe it's the right thing to do. If you speak it and you feel like it's not natural to speak it, then it probably doesn't feel right. So, but taking that one aligned action that feels right, for me, is really the message of this energy, this vibration. Because the reality is, this phase, the human in us wants certainty. It wants to know that whatever we do next is the right action. Because, we've been going through so much, if we're honest, over the last few years. We've lost people on our path, whether they're still here or whether they're just choosing to leave or whatever that looks like. We've gone through so many cycles. And I think the human is a bit more cautious. But in many ways, the spirit and the soul is ready to move. It's that disconnect, and it's that, waiting for confidence that whatever action you take is the right one. Waiting for certainty that it's the right thing to do. And really, we're in an uncertain world. We're not meant to know all the answers, and sometimes we delay an action because what if it's the wrong one? But what if there's no such thing as right or wrong? What if taking an action, and as long as you give it time, you then allow, if it doesn't feel right, you do something else. And I love the phrase, you're not a tree, you can move, right? So if it doesn't feel right, do something else. Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're waiting for permission. From who? I mean, Stace mentioned it. Who are you waiting for permission from? A higher power, your guides, somebody else in your world? This is a phase where you're responsible for you. You're responsible to shine your light unconditionally and be inspirational for others. So, Stace, what would your advice be for somebody who feels like they're waiting for something?
I would ask you to take a closer look at what you're waiting on. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for somebody to come along and give you permission to stand in your power and be who you are? Are you waiting on the circumstances to be a certain way in order for you to move forward? I think sometimes we can get stuck in what's comfortable, and it can make it very hard to move forward. And so I would encourage our listeners to take a closer look. What are you waiting on? Are you waiting on something to shift or change before you make a move? Sometimes I feel like the universe is waiting on us to make the decision to move forward before action starts happening. And so I would really encourage our listeners to take a closer look at what you're doing. How are you showing up in the world? Are you feeling fulfilled with what you're doing? All of these things matter. It matters that you experience joy in every day. It matters that you show up in the best way that you know how. And if you're holding back, I would encourage you to sit back and ask yourself why.
I love that. Asking yourself why, what's stopping you from moving forward. I'll just remind you, what's courage? Courage is taking action and doing it anyway. Courage is having fear and doing it anyway. It's like a lot of people waiting for that certainty, waiting to have that, being able to make a decision with no risk. I don't know if that exists. There's always I feel like this is a season where we're meant to be uncomfortable. So it doesn't have to be wild decisions, but making decisions that take you out of your comfort zone. And, I agree with what Stacey says. It's like, you've got to meet the universe halfway or even part way. So taking an action is meeting the universe part way. And by the way, that action may even be, I'm going to spend time in nature. I'm going to spend time with me. I'm going to go on a date with me. But if you have a vision, a mission, then what's the one step you could take today? And it could be a simple step. It could be calling somebody. It could be connecting. If you're listening to this episode, then maybe you're meant to take one aligned action. What is that aligned action? Like I said, it could be as simple as reaching out to somebody, making a call that you've been delaying, scheduling a discovery call with us, to find out what mentorship looks like. Whatever that is, take that step. Because, sometimes we do wait for that big epiphany, that big flash in the sky. Where all of a sudden our purpose becomes clear, our destiny is clear. What if that's never going to happen? What if that's not how it works? It does for some, to be fair. But a lot of the time, it's small actions that take you closer to what you're meant to do. And what makes you think you've only got one purpose? What if you've got multiple purposes? Mm-hmm. I tell you what I try and do. I use the word try on purpose. I've made a deal with my guides. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. And, whatever that means. It's like if somebody reaches out and wants to connect, if it feels right, I'll connect. An example is, I've been asked to be a judge at the UK Business Ascension Awards, and it's like the only spiritual awards for businesses around the spiritual space. And, that to me it feels like a beautiful honor, but it all started many months ago when I got a DM from somebody I know saying, these people are looking for a judge. Are you interested? And, I'm going to put you forward. And I was like, yeah, great. I didn't know what it meant. And, I had a conversation with Vicky, the organizer. It was a quick call. We kind of connected. We felt like it was aligned. And I just said, yeah. And in the end, it kind of probably took more time than I planned. But, beautiful. I get to be in a room full of conscious people in a couple of weeks, and really kind of be present. And this is the thing. It's like one simple step today is a course set in motion. So even a simple step can change the rest of your life. Because like I said, a simple step today may seem small, but the ripple effect could be long lasting. But ultimately, it could just lead you to the next step. It could lead you to the next step. So again, the question you're going to hear from us quite often in this episode is, what is your action? What is the one thing you can do for you today? Because what if the being ready is an illusion? It's never going to happen. And why do we delay what we know is an action that's going to move us forward? Why do we procrastinate? Why do we delay when there's an action that feels right? There is a fear there. Own the fear, but do it anyway. So Stace, can you give us an example where maybe there's an action that felt right, but it took you a bit of time to make that decision?
I was just thinking about when we first met, and I had always wanted to travel. I had always wanted to do things out of my comfort zone. And yet I hadn't really traveled. I hadn't really been out of the country much. And you asked me what I wanted to manifest. And without hesitation, I said I wanted to manifest a trip to the UK. And within a couple of weeks, I had made the arrangements with a friend to travel and see you and meet you in person. And I think about how that one action has led to so much change in my life. I mean, a chance encounter on a social media app has led me to finding one of my forever friends, somebody that I treasure and I get the opportunity to work with on a regular basis. We channeled our mentorship program through this connection. We have worked with so many clients through this connection. And it was all because I was willing to take action in a way that I had never done before. And it took stepping completely out of my comfort zone and doing something that scared me. I was scared to travel. I was scared to meet new people. I was scared to put myself out there, but I didn't let it stop me. I felt the fear and I did it anyway. And I just feel so grateful because that action has led to so much beauty in my life that I never could have anticipated.
Yes, beautiful example. Thank you, Stace. And definitely a blessing in the way we connected. And honestly, when I first heard you speak, Stace, Clubhouse is an audio room, and you were running the room with a friend of mine, and I was, in many ways, I didn't want to take because it was a friend I kind of mentored on the side, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to let him have his space. So my plan was just to listen, not even to join the conversation. I was driving at the time, and you were so vulnerable on that stage about sharing your story and sharing what you've been through, and I just felt a level of vulnerability that I don't really feel very often. And so I was like, well, I just got to go on stage and just say, you know what, Stace, that was really cool, and we never spoken before. But I just followed the nudge, right? I mean, there's a part of me that the human in me is like, oh, I should stay in the audience, and but then I was like, no, I just felt the need to. And then we went through a phase of me coming into your rooms, and I have this habit, and Stacey, you've seen it in the mentorship so often, where I'll receive a question from someone, I just ask it, and it's like, it's sometimes a very cutting question, because I have this great habit of asking a question and just being silent, and I'm okay with silence. And we went through a phase of me asking you these questions, and many times in the room you'd end up crying, and I was like, okay, I mean, I don't want people to cry, but then at the same time, I know it's a spiritual shift, and yeah, I'm really glad you trusted the nudge. There's so many things where I look, and even starting this podcast, I procrastinated. I was like, did I have the right software, and do I need a different microphone? And in the end, I got tired of it. Well, I just sat in front of my Mac and put some AirPods in and just recorded. And this is the thing. Sometimes our mind overcomplicates things. And, if you're procrastinating, usually there's a fear under that. So again, if you're delaying an action, this is where you've got to ask yourself and let yourself feel it, because sometimes you're delaying an action because it's not aligned. Sometimes you're delaying it because there is a fear there. And sometimes you're denying it because you know that taking some of these actions is going to change your world. And maybe you're comfortable in the current world. Maybe there's a part of you that, is again tired of this change. And maybe that procrastination is you playing safe.
Mm-hmm.
And again, ask yourself that question. If you've been delaying something and you've been putting it off, and you've been procrastinating, is that because there's something inside you that feels that decision is wrong? Or is that something inside you that there's a fear that if you take this action, your world's going to change? This is the thing. Asking yourself those sort of questions is powerful, because it changes. What it does, increases your awareness. And the other thing that we do, and actually I've done it at times, is waiting to be chosen instead of choosing yourself. Sometimes you wait for your guides. It's like, give me a message, give me this, give me that. You're waiting to be chosen. But this is a time to choose yourself. And sometimes it's so much easier to see in other people, because, since I've known Stace, she's one person that's always kind of going through, and she's been through so many shifts since I've known her. And, choosing to, she was in a hair salon, choosing to leave that place of employment. Maybe it was safer to then do more on her own. That's a brave, it's like it's uncomfortable taking some of these decisions that leave you in a space of change, and there's no guarantees. That's the thing. We're waiting for guarantees, and right now there is no guarantees. So Stacey, I'd love for you to ask you the question. When you made some of these decisions, that there was a fear there for sure.
Always.
But how does it feel, kind of working through that fear and doing it anyway?
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying when you feel the fear and you don't know what's coming next. That's the reality of it. You don't know what is coming next, and you take the action, and it's a gamble. Am I going to be in a better space because I make this decision? Am I going to be able to help more people because I make this decision? Like, asking yourself the questions, is it going to be okay? But without taking the action, it's impossible to know. It's all just speculation and anticipation. And for me, I have felt like I needed to grow and shift and change more. And the only way for me to do that was to step out of my comfort zone. In a big way, step out of my comfort zone. Like, there have been a lot of changes that I've made. I mean, I will tell you, the decision to leave the salon was not an easy one. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy, and I was working nights and weekends and spending time apart from my daughter, and not making a lot of money, and not feeling like I was being looked out for. And as I was kind of debating whether to leave or not, I had several people reach out to me and say, will you keep doing my hair? And the idea came to me, why don't I try mobile hairdressing? Why don't I see what happens when I do things differently? And so far, what has been birthed is a season of me being in charge of my own schedule, and me getting to see people in a different environment that feels really good. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, and I'm enjoying seeing what's happening, and I'm excited about what's ahead. I feel like this has been a massive season of growth, and I wouldn't have experienced that growth if I didn't take a chance.
I love it. I love it. And I've seen you recently. You bought that little handheld mic, and you're when you're going to people's houses, you're talking to them with the mic, and I love the fun in your voice when you're doing that sort of stuff. It's but this is the thing. We're waiting for guarantees, and there are no guarantees. This is, look at how far you've come over the past few years, and look at how much you've expanded, how much you've grown. And I get it. You're tired, and there's sometimes you're in that mode where you don't want to make any decisions. You want someone else to make all the decisions for you. But this is not that time. This is the time. I feel it's the time where we've got to meet the universe part way. We've worked so hard. I feel like our soul has worked so hard to be at this phase of what the planet's going through, this phase of transition. So this isn't time to procrastinate. I mean, the last few years, 100%, there was a feeling of doing internal work and being in the cocoon, and maybe we've gotten used to being in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's a difference between preparation and avoidance. There's a difference between you delaying because something doesn't feel right, or you delaying because you want to be safe. And again, let's just do it now. If you have a question in your heart, and if you just close your eyes and just ask yourself that question, how does it make you feel? Does it lift you up naturally, or does it fill you with dread? What vibration does it have? If it lifts you up, then it's probably something you should do. And then if you speak it out, can you speak it out naturally? Or is it like something stuck in your throat? It's just, there's such a natural, your body's a natural channel. And what if you could trust it? And again, there's no guarantees, right? Because your ego plays tricks with you. But again, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen if you took that one action that feels aligned? And the likelihood is probably not that deep. But again, there's a cost of waiting for that perfect moment. And if you listen to this, I'm well, I can't say 100% sure, but I'm sure I'm relatively sure there's something that you've been sitting on. And I do feel like we've been pushed to shine our light, use our voice. What is that one thing? What would you do in this moment if you decided to stop waiting? What action can you take? And don't wait, because this is the thing. It's like, sometimes we listen to something like this, and it's like you have every intention. But you know what? That was good. Yeah, I'm going to take some action. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to meditate with it on it for a few weeks, and then really, if you listen to this, then I'm not sure. Sit with it, meditate on it, but don't wait a long time. Maybe even, obviously, finish this episode, but then straight after, reach out to somebody. DM us, DM me or Stacey, and say, or both of us, and say, book a discovery call, or reach out to somebody you've been wanting. Connect with somebody that lifts your vibration. Brainstorm. And if you feel like you're meant to do something else, what action can you take towards moving towards it? Like I said, what would you do if you stopped waiting today? Stacey, I'm curious, is there anything that is calling out to you in this moment? It's like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do today to move me forward.
I'm in a season of so much change right now with the decision to leave the salon and doing mobile hairdressing and seeing healing clients, that each day is different. Each day is completely different than the next. Some days I'm on the road from the time I get up until later in the evening. Sometimes I'm home and working virtually with clients from around the world. It just depends on, the day, but I definitely feel like I'm taking action. I feel like I have to walk through the fear every day, though, because every day is different. I'm meeting new people all the time. Today, I have new clients, and I'm walking into an unfamiliar space, unfamiliar territory, new clients, experiencing them, what that looks like. There's a lot happening for me right now that just feels new and fresh and unfamiliar. And I just have to stay in the space of taking action, right? Moving forward, whether I feel fear or not, moving through the fear and doing it anyway. I think it's really important that we recognize that oftentimes we can feel like we're waiting for permission to move forward, but who's going to give us that permission? Right? Who's going to make those rules about when you should move forward and when you shouldn't? And I think this is really important to recognize because I think a lot of us wait on that, right? We wait for somebody to invite us, or we wait for the circumstances to be aligned in a certain way, or for the stars to align in a certain way before we take action. And I'm finding in this season, I can't do that. I've got to move forward each day, and I walk through the fear and do it anyway.
I love that. And actually I can resonate, right? There's I'm trying to, my deal is I'm just going to keep showing up. I run many retreats, but I ran my first solo retreat a couple of weeks ago, and like I said, going to the awards, I feel like, and the same, it's like I'm working with so many amazing clients. People are finding me, and I feel like the energy is shifting. But I've made the decision to keep showing up. There's days I just want to have a duvet day, right? Just kind of like, just get back into bed, something today, a few things happen. I'm like, you know what, I need to restart today. And, but I keep showing up. I mean, example, at the retreat I was just talking about in Glastonbury on the last day, after like 3 days of the event, being on my feet all day, and then having one day on my own. So I was doing lots of walking around Glastonbury, and all of a sudden my foot started to hurt. And, it's my right foot. And interesting enough, just to give you some background, my right ankle, so many times when I used to work with a mentor, my friend Cedric Jeffrey, and I'd be going to one of our events in, wherever abroad. Once at the event and once before I was actually traveling, and one was in Spain, one was in Mexico, I managed to fall and sprain my ankle. And both of those times, because, I discussed it with my guys and I discussed it with Cedra, and both of those times, because I was still in corporate and I wasn't aligned with what I was doing. And this time, it was my right foot, not my right ankle. So I was like, oh man, is this the universe telling me that there's something different I need to do with the business? And, I even had a friend ask me yesterday, she's like, well, if it's your right foot, is there something that and I sat with it, and I don't know, there isn't anything that came through. And I was like, but I feel like I'm showing up in every way. So I did ask that question. In the end, I didn't overthink it. In the end, the message that I got was, you know what? I'm probably doing too much, so I need to rest up a little bit, but still keep showing up. It's not, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you. And is it frustrating? Yeah, because, I was trying to get, look after this physical vessel, right? Do more exercise, do more walking. The weather's beautiful. Yeah, so there's a bit of frustration there, but at the end of the day, I've got to listen. So again, what is the universe telling you that maybe you're ignoring? What would you do today if you stop waiting? Stop waiting for the perfect moment. What if the thing that you've been waiting for, the big epiphany or the big breakthrough, is actually waiting for you to take an action to move towards it? So Stacey, as we start come to start closing out this episode, do you have any kind of final wisdom you want to share? Any general prompts that you feel might help the listener?
I really feel like journaling is so pivotal in helping us uncover the layers of what we're dealing with and why and how. And so I would encourage you to sit down with your journal and ask, what are you waiting for? And see what comes up. Are you waiting for permission? Are you waiting for the circumstances to be just right? Are you waiting for somebody to come along and invite you? What are you waiting for? And just see what comes up in that journaling and see what you uncover. Because I think oftentimes we don't even realize that we've put ourselves on hold. We don't even realize that we've created this kind of idea of things have to be perfect before I can move forward. And I don't know that that's necessarily the way that it's going to work for us, for a lot of us. For a lot of us, it's about taking action and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So get your journal out and take some time to process and unpack what you're waiting on. Because I think that in the writing, we can really see what our true thoughts are unfiltered. So I encourage you to do that.
No, I couldn't agree more. Kind of journaling about it allows you to process, speaking out loud. I remember this conversation reminds me of something Sidra was used to talk about. She created a word, inspiration. So she combined inspiration and taking action. So use that word if it helps. Inspiration. What inspiration are you going to take today? What inspired action can you take today? Most people are not waiting because they don't know what to do. I feel like there's a feeling in you that, this is the one action you can take today. I don't feel like you're waiting because maybe there's multiple things you could do and you're not sure which one. But maybe you're not. It's not that you don't know what to do. Maybe it's because you're afraid of who you become if you do it. Maybe you're so comfortable being this person, being in a cocoon, that you're worried that if you start coming out of your cocoon and shining your light differently, that you'll fail, or you'll crash, or maybe you'll get everything you want. And sometimes that means also leaving people behind. So understanding helps, but taking action is the biggest thing you can do today. So if you're listening to this, we'd love to know, what action did you take after listening to this episode? Please do share. And maybe your action, like I said, is to book a discovery call. If you listen to this on Monday the 29th, then we have a full moon webinar today. Maybe your action is to join that. It's full moon on Monday. So if you listen to this Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday, full moons are a beautiful time to heal too. Full moons are a beautiful time to energize yourself. So step in front of the full moon and just allow it to energize you. And, if this episode resonates, please do like, comment, share, reach out to us. We love receiving those DMs. If you have any feedback, please do share it. We do this because this is our way of giving back. So we do love it when people take the time out to give us feedback, or let us know that this resonated, or let us know this is the action you took, or make an action to join the webinar, whatever feels right. We're sending you so much love and light. Thank you for allowing us to support you, hold your space, be there in whatever way we can. We love what we get to do, and we love you so very much. Stacey, as always, thank you for being there. Thank you for holding my space and guiding me along this journey too. And do you have any final words before we close?
I just want our listeners to know that you have the power to shift your life at any time simply by taking action. We encourage you on this journey. Please let us know what you're inspired to do. Share with us. We'd love to hear from you. Another fantastic episode, Nims.
Thank you, Stace. And I guess that's a beautiful reminder. Nobody's going to do it for you. It's your responsibility, so take action today. Sending you love and light and the biggest hug, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.